Hi guys, I'm going to walk you through the process of logging into the district website, actually getting a post posted to WordPress, how to update media, upload media, and how to manipulate some of the content so that if you want to get a little fancy, you can put some pictures in with some text and try to get a kind of a combination and some good looking stuff, some of the best practices. So the first thing, of course, you want to do is go to the district web portal. Up here at the top right hand corner, you will find a login that says staff. Just go ahead and click that. It'll take you directly to the WordPress login. Yours, of course, is KHSD staff, and you know the password. So once you've logged into the district portal, you're on the dashboard. And the dashboard, I've got a few tutorials that kind of run through all of this content. And I wanted to give you a little bit more of an in-depth click by click. So we'll just watch the video, but by all means, feel free to reference that or the video. So when we're posting content to the website itself, it's important to understand what sections of the website you're working with when you're working with posts or pages. Pages are static content. So like if I went to the trustees page and I was looking at the information that's located here, I am looking at a static web page. This has some pictures in it and it has some information about the meetings, and that's a static web page. If I wanted to edit a web page, that would be the item that I would edit. If I'm looking at the main district portal, up here in the front, the slideshow images that post up here and down here in our news, these are what we call posts. Essentially, WordPress started out as blogging software about 10 years ago. And so that is still a major function, and of course it's now a useful function because we use our site like basically like a news magazine. So what we're doing is when we're trying to post content up here, we're using the post feature. So when we're in the back end here in the actual dashboard, up at the top you'll see an option for posts. You can view all the posts or add a new one. Let's go ahead and add a new one. So I know I was able to briefly show you the interface the other day, but I want to have a more in-depth opportunity to go through the buttons so that you know exactly what they do. Of course, your title section is right up here at the top, so you put title here. Then below, of course, is the body of the post. If you need a little bit more room when you're working in here, as you can see when you take your mouse here, that this will drag down. And of course, it won't do it while I'm recording a video, but it does, so you'll have that freedom. Right here, of course, is a familiar set of buttons like you're used to seeing in Microsoft Office: bold, italic, underline. You can make footnotes, and of course, the block quote feature. You can change text color. You can also highlight color around text. You can use bulleted lists, and you can have numbered lists. You can change your alignments of all of your text, and you can add links. You can also use a slideshow. You can create very special kind of advanced features. I might just make this its own video some other time. You can change the font. If you do, just don't. I don't know why I have this feature on here. Don't change the font. The website has a pretty consistent look, so please don't. You can, however, change the font size. This is a pretty useful, important feature. And of course, related to font size are heading types. So if you wanted to type in major headers or subheaders, you can choose from any one of these options. I just pretty much leave it in paragraph and use the font size feature. There is a table feature here. So much like in any Excel spreadsheet or a spreadsheet that you would add to a Word document, you can add cells. And we might touch on this a little bit. I doubt that you'll be using this for a post, but if you wanted to post as text, if you want to clear the formatting, if you've written a bunch of content, maybe you've copied and pasted from a Word document. I mean, if after you've copied and pasted from something like that, if the text is just being weird, like you can't get a bold letter to stop being bold, or maybe there's a color or a font you don't like, just highlight all your text and click that clear formatting option, and that'll take away all the HTML and give you a nice clean system. This, of course, is a horizontal line, so if I typed in content and I wanted to delineate between a couple of sections of content, I could easily come in here and just hit this horizontal line, and it puts a line there for me, which is a very nice feature. Now, the content itself, as you see when you edit things, it's just pretty much text. So if you want to manipulate the text, you can highlight that text just like you would in an Office document, change its color. You can bold it, italicize it, whatever you feel like doing. So in this respect, this is something that you should be familiar with. So feel free to write that copy like you want it. You write it in here if you like. It's all good. Copy and paste it from Word, whatever you feel is good. As you put that copy, of course, what we're trying to do is we're trying to integrate multimedia images with the content. So I'm going to upload a few pictures from Principal Partners Day to show you how to do that. In the folder, I have a good 100 photos. I don't think we're going to load 100 photos for Principal Partners Day. We might break this up into sections. But I'm going to try to upload a few photos from the actual event itself to let us get kind of an idea of what to expect. So I'm going to bring my folder over and kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing. So in the WordPress interface itself, I have a button that you see right here called Add Media. So when I click Add Media, it brings up my media library. Now the media library itself is basically what I've uploaded and what I have available to me. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to upload documents to the library to use it. This section on the right here is where we choose what to do with the media after we upload it. So let's go ahead and just click Upload Files. And I'm just going to grab, a couple of these shots. And that should probably do it. I'm also going to upload the featured image that I made specifically for the Principal Partners Day event. So we'll upload that and we'll let you see what to do with that. So what I've done is I basically just selected the files, and as you can see it says drop files anywhere to upload. So I'm just going to click this and drag these 30 files over. When it says drop the files to upload, I do. These files are now going to upload to the web server, and when they're finished, we'll be able to manipulate them and use them as we see fit. And through the magic of the internet, I've been able to speed up time so you don't have to sit there and watch those upload. So now that I've uploaded the images, you can see that there are little checkboxes by all of the images that I've uploaded. And currently I am selected on an image that has a blue box around it. And over here on the right, I have some options. It shows me the title of my image and a caption and alt text that I could fill out if I felt a need to. You don't need to worry about this stuff. There's attachment display settings, like how I can align the image. You may remember that I showed you how to align an image. We'll go over that again. What you would choose to link an image to, typically you would link to the media file. If you don't want an image to be clickable and linking to the full-sized image, you can just choose none. If you wanted the image to lead somewhere else, like let's say you uploaded a logo for an organization and you wanted it to go to their website, you'd choose custom URL and type in their website. The attachment page is kind of a dumb thing. It literally takes the end user to another page, which just shows the photo a little bit bigger, that they could then click again in full-size image. I don't know why that's in there, so just ignore that. For the most part, I always choose media file or none. So below that are some size options. You have a thumbnail, you have the medium size, you have large, which is 470 by 705, and then you have full size, which of course with this one is just massive. So the large size, which says 470 by, that 470 pixels width is literally the width of the space that we use for our body. So this is 470 pixels wide. So when you choose an image that's 470, you're essentially choosing, a nice big block. So if I go to the news, I'll show you an example of one right here in the Jim Burke Light and Liberty Award. So here is a 470 pixel wide portrait style photo, which of course is the tall. And then here is a landscape version. Of course, when I click the image itself, it takes me to the full-size version. So if I wanted to embed images in that way, this would be the method I would use. I would basically choose an image like this or this image here, and then I would make sure that my size is right, and then I would choose Insert into Post. The problem I have is that every one of these pictures is selected at the moment. So if I chose Insert to Post, I'd end up with like 30 photos in there. So I'm just going to come over here and add media again, and I'm actually going to uncheck all of these. It's unfortunately kind of an aspect of when you upload large volumes of pictures, you tend to have to do this to tell WordPress that you only want to work with one photo at the moment. Pardon the tediousness, but web development, while we try to make it as simple as can be, it's not exactly the simplest thing. So the photo I want to focus on using is, let's find a picture of the entire hall. So here's a picture of the hall. I want it to be large, 470 pixel wide. I want it to align to no alignment, because when it's full width, you don't really need to choose left or right, and it's best if you don't. So no alignment, insert into post. So there's my image. I accidentally clicked it when I was on the right-hand side of some text, but that's good because it lets me show you what you can do. Much like in Word, you can just hit enter, and that picture then just kind of snaps. I could choose to center this if I felt like it, but what you may have noticed is the editor is really nice and wide, but the reality is that our website doesn't really give us this much room. So if you wanted to preview and see how much of your text was going to be wrapping around and what it would look like, you of course just use this preview button right here. So when I hit preview, it opens up a new tab, and this tab will show you exactly what your HTML is going to look like when it displays on the website. So as you can see, obviously, because the width of our news area, because this is what fits mobile devices, actually makes those long, skinny paragraphs kind of tall. And so there's our picture. So let's say we go back to the actual post itself, and let's take some of these out. Let's take out that horizontal line. So let's say I had a couple of pictures and I wanted to place them between some of these paragraphs. So I'm going to create a couple of paragraphs here and embed a couple of images between them. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to show you a few tricks for wrapping content around. So I'm going to come here between this paragraph and the next paragraph, and you'll see how I just push enter to give myself that space. I'm going to choose add media. And now I'll just insert a picture of Dr. Schaefer talking into the group. And I'll come here again, add media. Let's have a picture of him. Let's get that picture of him smiling. There we go. So obviously when we use this technique, we typically don't use the thumbnails that embed over here on the left-hand side, but I'm going to put one in just so that you can see what that looks like. I'm going to copy a little bit more content. So I'm just going to, what I do is you take your cursor and you click to the top left word in your paragraph so that the text starts at the same height as the image. And I choose add media, and let's find an image that makes a good thumbnail. I'm going to go with this picture of Mr. Vega. And so we're going to choose to change that size to a thumbnail, and we're going to align that to the left and link it to the media file. So if someone clicks the thumbnail, it'll take them to the full-size image, and there we go. So now I've created some pretty big paragraphs here that should wrap around that. Let's choose the preview button and see what our progress looks like. So as you can see, we've got the content in here, and that's what that looks like. So obviously this doesn't look very good. You may have noticed that there's a really big gap between the photo and the next paragraph. And here in our editor, it doesn't really seem like that's, actually there. This is a common issue with web development. I hate to introduce you to some of our regular headaches, but this is some of them. So what has happened is, and this sometimes happens when you edit text, you basically just need to take this paragraph and bring it up to the picture and just maybe edit it back. So it's just kind of a backspace, backspace, enter, and there we go. The text fixes itself automatically. Another option that you have is over here are two tabs. One of them is the text tab. This, of course, introduces HTML. If you know anything about HTML, feel free. I don't think either of you necessarily know a lot of it, so it's not necessary. But if you had some content, let's say maybe Chevron provided you with maybe a special button or a link or something unique that you would embed in, you would probably just write out your content and then just kind of hit enter a couple of times until you had a nice blank spot, and then you would just paste some of that HTML right there. And what would happen is that would then, when you viewed the web page, it would display it correctly. If you ever get embed codes from YouTube, if you wanted to embed a YouTube video, you would also want to probably come in here, grab that embed code and paste it after a paragraph. That would be the best way to go, instead of trying to, if you embed the code here, what happens is if I were to paste a YouTube code, it would actually just display the HTML as text instead of actually showing you the video. That's because this is treated more like a visual editor. So, I've now shown you how to enter some content with the tools that we currently use for making this layout. What's this right here with the larger images. This is what is the most, I would say this is the best look for mobile devices and PCs combined. But if you wanted to use those photo galleries like I was using earlier, you have a couple of options. So one of the things I did that I think is one of the most important steps is if you are going to use a slideshow feature or a gallery feature, you have to upload the photos while you're inside this interface. So after you've come to choose a new post or a new page, you then add media. The reason that's important is because when you upload the photos while you're in the interface, the database tags the images to the post. And that is how the database knows how to make your slideshows work. You're going to be amazed how incredibly simple it is to do. So I'm just going to remove all this content and I'm going to click the WP Zoom slideshow shortcut. It brings up an interface and asks you a few questions. Do you want it to autoplay? I typically like that. And then that's pretty much all I do. I'm probably going to just leave it like that and insert the gallery. So now that I've inserted a photo gallery, what you physically see in the editor is what we call a shortcode. This is not what will display on the website. When I hit preview, you'll see exactly what displays. This is our slideshow tool, and it gives the end user the ability to just kind of browse around and look at all the photos. And while I like this feature a lot, it's not necessarily the best method for displaying photos, but it isn't bad. And if you've got a lot of photos, this is probably the best way to do it, because those really, really long posts of many, many, many photos, those can actually get kind of cumbersome. So this might be the method you'd like for an event with lots of photographs. It's entirely up to you. The other option would be to add a photo gallery, which is what we were using when Lisa first jumped aboard. We've kind of shied away from using that, but if you really felt a need to do that, you would just come in here and choose Add Media, and while you're in the Media Library, you would just choose the option to the left here that says Create Gallery. So let's say I wanted to use all of these Principal Partners Day photos. So I would just, just like you would do in Microsoft Office, you click it and hold Shift and select a whole bunch of images, and I've done that. So what you don't see down here at the bottom, because it's just outside our video, is a button that's right down here. I'm pointing to it right here. Is a button that says Create New Gallery. So you would do that, and it creates this page. This is very important. While you're in here, you have a few options. You can link the image directly to the media file or that silly attachment page. I choose the media file. Our website only really has enough room to display 2 columns of photos. So you choose 2. I also like to use random order. It's just my personal preference. Feel free to do what you like. And then again, down below me here is a button that says Insert Gallery. So you would just come down here and click it, and it would insert the gallery. Now, obviously, this looks bizarre while you're in the editor, but if we choose Preview, it'll take us from the nice slideshow that we have that way to a grid of photos for the photo album, which, as it functioned pretty well for us before. So, if you feel a need to use that feature, feel free. Now, we've got this content, and we've chosen what we want to put in here. So let's just pretend we had a lot of text and pictures and everything was the way we liked it. Now we want to post this to the website itself. We want this to be a front page news item. So front page news means that it needs to be a featured item, and it needs to be categorized as news. So we come up here and choose to feature the post. We also choose that it is a news item under categories. At the very top, there's also a post option where we show the featured image on a post. We always do that, and we choose the narrow option, and I'll show you what that does later. And then down below, we choose to set the featured image. So I'm going to choose that now, or at least I will when I move my stupid webcam video. Okay, so set featured image. So this featured image tool, the featured image is the one that would be the actual slideshow itself, the main image that displays as the, if you want to call it like the featured image of the news story. So I uploaded an image for you that I titled Featured Image. And I believe, at least I thought I uploaded it. Yep, there it is. So you can see the title, Featured Image. If you're going to upload an image to be a featured image, it would be really ideal if you could make it 715 pixels wide by 300 pixels tall. Now, Jason knows a little bit more about this than you do, Lisa, but essentially when you're making an image like this, you could make the mistake of taking an image and then stretching and skewing it to make it those dimensions, and that just make it look really bad. The other step would be to come into a program like Photoshop and actually drop the image into a document that you've already built that is 700 by 315, and then you can just resize that image as you see fit until it looks just right for you. And when it does, you can just apply that that size, and then you can save this file and make that your slideshow image. This is obviously in Photoshop. This might be a little bit too complicated. Hopefully you won't need to use these kinds of features, because the other thing to keep in mind is if you upload a photo to be the featured image, the software itself will crop it, typically in the middle, and it will try its best to use whatever you've got. You just may not like its placement and shape. So if you want to use a custom image, guys in the back like Jeremy and them, or anybody who's knows anything about Photoshop in the office can help you make a 715 by 300 pixel image. So I'm going to go ahead and right below here, click the Set Featured Image button. And as you can see, the featured image is now very clearly displayed. So double check our checklist. We pretend that there was actual content here. We proofread it. We like it. It's ready to go live. I have set my featured image post option to narrow. I have featured the image so it will go to the front, and I have selected the news category. The only option left is to hit publish, and when I do, my news story goes live. What happens is that image immediately displays here as the top of the news story, and in here in recent news, if you posted anything, the Jim Burke award photo will move over, Shipley will move down, and this will be the newest post that you would have. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole process for posting. I want to keep the video as short as I can. We're 22 minutes in. Terribly sorry, but I wanted this to be a pretty extensive walkthrough that you could reference if you needed. And again, I really hope that you don't need this. Just call me, because while I will only be a few miles away, I will have mobile technology with me so I can do your posts. But if you just really want to dabble with it and have fun, knock yourselves out. Thanks, guys.